Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV and welcome back to part 2 of the Friday Night Social. It's still the 12th of June and we're moving on to the next question. Don't forget, go over and make sure you check out part 1 where we got into a heated debate on the first 2 questions, talking about the UEFA Champions League and talking about who should go from the defence. But we're moving on to question 3, and this is Martin's question. So over to you, mate. What's your question?
How much do you think we'll get for Leroy Sané? No, I'm only joking.
I thought you were. Well, yeah, that's another pound towards the tackle for Manchester. So that Martin owes, I think, about £14 now for tackle for Manchester. I thought he was going to ask about. I thought I was going to ask about Fabinho and how much we should pay for him. But go on. What's your question, mate?
It's regarding young players. To put it bluntly, will young players get a proper chance at a top club in England, or are managers in too much fear of their actual job to give them a proper go?
So this isn't about City. This is just...
Well, it's about the top clubs in England, because abroad, they seem to like the young players. They seem to get them in, sell them on for a big profit, or they keep them. But, I mean, like Chelsea had to play the young players because of the transfer ban. But as we've seen now, all these young players will not get a game because they're all going to sign these top superstars now. Well, the likes of, Foden, Taylor Howard-Bellis, Garcia... Are they really going to get a proper crack in the first team? Or is it, if they fail, Pep's out of a job, that's the problem. And that can be at any top club in England. Are youngsters really given a fair crack, basically?
I think there's quite a few caveats to that, because one is the type of team, the players you have in that current team, and... how good are the players to take over the position of the players that are currently there, etc., etc. But anyway, yeah, great question. Who do you want to ask first, mate?
We'll start with Mr. Estonia over in the corner who's away on his jolly. He's meant to be quarantining. I don't know how he's got over there on an airplane, but he's away.
Safer here, mate. Well, I think it's a good question, man. I think I saw some stat on Twitter earlier where it said that out of the top 40 European clubs, City had the least homegrown talent in their first team squad, which I think is really disappointing. I understand it. I do understand that a manager comes in, so certainly at Pep's sort of level, and he's all about winning as many trophies as he can while he's here. But I do think that whole holistic approach that we were told when Pellegrini was manager from Khaldoon seems to have gone out of the window, and I think we put too much stock into things like the Carabao Cup. I'm not saying we should go all Arsenal on it and play a full kids team, but to see if these kids are good enough, they need to be playing against quality opposition, and they don't seem to get the chance. I think it's a real problem at City. I don't see it so much as a problem at other places. I think from this list, United had apparently the most homegrown talent in their squad. They seem to be able to bring players through. And I think it's a matter of trust, really. I think you got to try and trust the younger lads to prove their potential, or they don't. I think...
Sorry to interrupt, mate. The point is, you remember United... They stumbled across Rashford and all that by complete and utter fluke and accident. Because they have
Pogba counts as homegrown for them as well.
Yeah, all right. But the fact of the matter is, Rashford was there, and he was the one to step in and did the job, proved himself. There's nobody really who's come through for a long time now, and is a first team player, and we do rely on bringing players in. I'd love to see some of the youngsters get a chance. I think when Pep goes, we might see it. And if we do get transfer ban or European bans, or whatever bans that might come in the future, then we'll probably do what Chelsea did and allow some of these players in.
Great answer. Didn't think of it like that. Tom?
For me, I love seeing we all at City, every time we see a young player play, we always give him quite a lot of confidence from the crowd. Yeah, you know, your likes of Foden, Howard Bellis. We always try and influence them to have a good game. It's one of those, isn't it, really? Because if you've got people in those positions that are going to do you a good job week in, week out, who are getting paid quite a lot, you're going to choose them over the youngsters. For City, we've always sort of been a team, especially under Pep in the Carabao Cup, where we've always played the full strength team. I wouldn't necessarily say that was the biggest priority to play the youngsters in that sort of team, and because of the fact that if he doesn't get that trophy, it could make the season not as good. So I can see what you mean about the Chelsea saga. Well, what's gone over there? They've had a decent season with the youngsters, and it just proved that a lot of the homegrown players that they have are actually really good quality players. Sometimes putting them out on loan does them a world of good, and sometimes it can ruin their career. You look at Patrick Roberts. He came to us and hasn't really sparkled. But then you look at the likes of Jack Harrison at Leeds, who's gone on loan and he's had a really good performance, good season over there. It just depends, really, and I think it would go down to the manager's job if the players don't perform, because if they put the trust in them and they're not using their best players and not getting the people in, then it can affect them, definitely.
I mean, yeah, totally. Thing is with Chelsea, they, like you just said, they had a great season with youngsters. They're about to replace them all with superstars.
Yeah, and I think
has Lampard panicked now and thought, my job's depending on this.
Yeah, and I think that as Lampard will know, that a lot of those players have good enough qualities to play in the other top 4 clubs or even top 6. So I think he's sort of thinking, well, they're going to do us a good job. Let's sell them off after having a good season and then get the better players in. I reckon that's how Chelsea are going to look at it. That if they kept their team and brought in the likes of Werner to replace, I don't know, Abraham or something like that, then I think they're a really strong side. Because Lampard didn't have a choice, I reckon it was more brought upon him. Whereas if you've got a team, if you've got, I don't know, United or Leicester or whoever, they've got a bit more of a reason to play the other players. Whereas Chelsea this season had no other option other than to play them. So anything other than good performances from them, or anything other than what they were giving, was basically the best they could give, because they couldn't have improved it at all. So I guess it just depends on the situation as well. So say that something happens to us and nobody wants to go in, then if we have to revert to playing the homegrown players, then I won't see it. I don't think it'd be as much of a bigger deal as if we weren't, because of the circumstances, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Ryan,
Mr. Bundesliga up in the corner.
Well, I mean, that's definitely why you added in top teams in England, because I was going to say, like, across Europe, they do integrate youth a lot more than in England, especially.
They do it abroad.
I think the best of the top teams in England, the best team of doing this at the minute is United and Arsenal, really. I think Arsenal's has kind of been brought upon, like, with the exception of Chelsea, because that was just fully forced upon them. Arsenal's was kind of, their squad sucks, and now they've got one of the best young left backs in the league in Saka, who's came through as a winger at the start of the season, and then they had the injury to Tierney, who they'd spent decent money for, and I think Kolasinac has had his problems with injury and just being inconsistent. And then I think that's one of the few things the Europa League's actually really good for, especially for English clubs, is you've seen Arsenal and United and Chelsea last season giving a lot of time to the youngsters that wouldn't get a chance. And because of that game time, that's kind of brought Saka into the first team at Arsenal as well, left back. I don't think it's really going to happen at City because of the fact that whereas Arsenal, Chelsea in their situation, United can probably afford to do that a little bit more. Like you got Brandon Williams coming through at United instead of Shaw, because Shaw's injured and inconsistent. So I think Williams has been one of the main players for them. Then you've had Greenwood coming through in the Europa League specifically. Whereas you don't really see it as much at a City or a Liverpool. I mean, you have Trent, who obviously they'll all go on about at Liverpool, but Trent, who else have they really brought through? I mean, Gomez they had to buy for, I think, just under 5 million. And City haven't really brought anyone through either, other than, you know, your Foden, your Howard Bellis, and Garcia we brought in, technically. I think I said probably at least a year ago, if not earlier, that I'd have sent Foden out on loan. And I still think if we bring in a midfielder, I'd be sending Foden out on loan because I just don't see him getting the game time to progress. I think if we got the ban again, like everyone else has said, we'd be forced into giving youngsters more minutes, but I don't see them getting more game time as things currently stand.
Okay, Alan.
Well, I'll give you a scenario. The CFA, since it's been around and since they've developed their young academy, we've finished second to Chelsea about 3 years or 4 years on the bounce. That academy's made over 150 million for City in producing them and selling them. I do get the point. So as far as making money is concerned, it's doing its job. Are they going to get in the City's team? You've got Foden, Howard Bellis, Doyle, Garcia that are on the fringe.
David Braff.
I heard last night he's not happy and wants to leave. So, I personally can't see any of those players getting in the first team.
It's a bit like doom and gloom tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't see them getting a fair crack of the whip. Not with the pressure that's on City. As far as the other sides are concerned, Chelsea got a brilliant youth structure down at Chelsea, probably the best in the league, without any doubt. Yes, they were forced into it. I only think they'll only sign 2 or 3 players maximum this year. What's going on? If that, them youngsters they've got at Chelsea are good enough. United they stumbled onto a few players there, but United have always brought youngsters in. I think it's down to the club to have a mentality. Right, this is what we're going to do, and they actually say this is what we're going to do. The fans would accept if City came out and said, right, for the next 3 years, we're going to bring all these youngsters in and we're going to embed them in. We're going to maybe struggle for the first couple of years, but after that, them youngsters should come to the fore. Now, if everyone said that, I think the fans would accept it and back the kids. But it's got to come from the club to say that and have that mentality. I don't think City as a club at the moment with Pep will do that. I think if it was somebody else there, I think it might help.
Not giving me a lot of hope on Foden. Andy, where are you at it? Where are you at with it?
I was just, while you were all sort of answering, I was listening to you. I was just going through all of the top teams as it stands at the moment and looking at which teams are playing homegrown players, because that's the question. And if you look at Liverpool, really the only homegrown player that they're playing is Trent Alexander-Arnold. That's it. Curtis Jones has been in the odd League Cup, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. Harvey Elliott's had a chance, and Ryan Brewster, who was at the World Cup with
he's
the
on
likes
loan
of
at Swansea.
He's on loan now, isn't he?
Yeah, Foden and Sancho is no longer there, and looks like his career's stalled. So Liverpool, we're talking about, you know, going back to part 1 of the video, was talking about, you know, Liverpool are 25 points clear, and the this, that, and the other, and blah blah blah, and the question about youth coming through. Why do we need to bring through youth? Because Liverpool aren't, and they're 25 points clear of City as it stands at the moment. The only one that's been in their team this season is Trent Alexander-Arnold. That's it. Simple as.
I think it expels you of a massive cock up in my eyes with Sancho. You know, he's turned out to be one of the best players in Europe.
You know, there's not a lot. Yeah, but Alan, you can't do anything about it if he refuses to sign a contract. You can't force him to sign it. Pep said we wanted him to stay. We offered him a good contract, which was allegedly sort of 50 grand a week at the time. This is going back way before the Dortmund stuff, and for 8-9 months he wouldn't have that, and he wanted more. And I mean, no hard feelings against Sancho. He was doing what he's doing for his own career, and that's absolutely fine. But City did everything they possibly could to keep him, and he refused. So you can't force a player to stay. It's one of those things.
Because he couldn't see a pathway to the first team, really.
Yeah, but I mean, at the time, he was never going to see a pathway because he never deserved to be in the first team. It's like saying Jayden Braff.
He'd have been fourth choice.
Yeah, he would have been. Yeah, exactly, Ryan.
Because we were bringing him.
Don't know what happened there. Don't know what happened there. It's like Jayden Braff. If Jayden Braff says he wants to leave because he can't see a pathway, well, is Jayden Braff going to be a starter next season for Man City? No. He isn't. No. So if he says no, that's it, I'm leaving. City can't do anything. Nothing. They can't do anything about it. They're not going to say, well, we'll pay you 100 grand a week to be an EDS player and come in for the League Cups and things like that. Exactly. He'd be happy with that, but there's massive feedback coming from somebody. Really bad. Ryan, can you just take your headphones off or do something? There you go. That's right. That's where it's coming from. So you can't force a player to stay at a club. I was looking at the other ones. Leicester City can't find anybody who's coming through Leicester City. I looked at Tottenham. There's only Winks and Kane. I looked at Arsenal.
Came from Arsenal.
I looked at Arsenal. Well, I looked at Arsenal. They've got Saka and Reece Nelson. And Saka's done really well this season for them, but Reece Nelson's been in it sporadic. Looked at Chelsea. They've got Gilmour, Hudson-Odoi, Abraham and Mount. And now I know Gilmour's played the odd games and done, in cup competitions. Ryan is still getting massive feedback from your headphones.
Right. One sec.
There's feedback coming from your headphones, mate. Hudson-Odoi and Abraham Tammy Abraham's done really well, but Hudson-Odoi again, in and out of the team. They're not like regular players. The biggest one, I think Ryan said before, was United. United of Rashford, Greenwood, I think McTominay, did he not come through? Yeah, Lingard, Gomez, Williams has been in the team. I think United's model at the moment. But again, you might look at that and go, well, hold on a minute. We've got 6 players that we've brought through, which is fantastic. And I'm all for that. But where are United? Where are United in the league? What have United won? Yeah. I mean, it's a buy-off. I mean, the only reason why those players, I know Rashford came in. You made the comment, Martin, about Rashford coming in. It was because people were injured and he took his chance. I've said all the time on Man City Fan TV, since I started Man City Fan TV, I said I would love Marcus Rashford at Man City. I would. I agree with you. And especially under Pep Guardiola. I really, really rate him. But, you've got Greenwood. I mean, and United are doing really well if you look at it from afar and look at them going, Rashford, Greenwood, McTominay, Lingard, Gomez, Williams. All brilliant. But what are they winning and where are they and what are they going to win in the future with those type of players? So and they are linked with so many players coming in that they're going to spend possibly 150 to 200 million or even more if they can get the Pogba deal going one way. Other players coming in and think, well, what happens to the likes of a McTominay? If they got, I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not saying Kai Havertz or someone like that. What happens to him? and the other ones will be on the fringe. So even though they are out of all of the top 6 teams, they have got the best prodigies for getting players through, but they're not won anything. They've not won anything.
So where does that leave Foden?
And they've got Dean Henderson as well.
And Dean Henderson, of course, of course he's on loan at the moment.
Yeah.
But I mean, where does that leave Foden? I don't think it leaves Foden anywhere. I think, and my thing is that when Sancho wanted to leave, he wasn't ready for the first team. He wasn't going to get a first team berth. And if he's not happy doing his time, serving his time, and coming through after 18 months, which is, I think, if he would have stayed, I think this season you would have seen Sancho in the team because of Sané's injury. These are the opportunities that young play. Yeah, but I mean, this season when Sané was injured, those are the opportunities where he could have come into the team, and that's what happens at clubs. Opportunities open up, but sometimes kids just want it now. They want everything now. They want it now.
But hasn't Sancho just got into trouble again?
He's been in trouble.
He's always in trouble. He's always in trouble.
Didn't he go for an haircut during lockdown or something?
Yeah.
I think him and another player had brought in a private hairdresser or barber to come and cut their hairs, shared their bill, things like that. But I mean,
that's the problem. They get the balance.
It is very difficult. It is really, really difficult because, like you say, where does that leave the manager? Because I honestly believe that if Phil Foden was ready last season, he would have played every game or the most of the games. Pep knows when Phil Foden is ready, and I think he's got a plan for Foden that naturally, when David Silva retires from City, Phil Foden will take his place, and I do believe that Foden will take David Silva's place, and you'll see he might not play 38 Premier League games next season, but I bet you he plays 25, 28 games, Premier League games next season.
Is that without signing anyone else then?
I think they will sign somebody.
But I don't think we'll sign somebody in those positions. I just don't.
No need.
It's not the most important. It's not the
No,
most
it's
important.
not. I don't. Now, if a Kai Havertz or someone came on the market, it's one of those that do you sniff at that and go, oh, well, I mean,
we've been after him for the last 12 to 13 months. Now, tonight about Coutinho. They're going
I saw that.
Apparently. So I don't know which way, and that was pushed really strong tonight. Is that
by you?
It was on City Extra and 2 others. But that's Twitter. That's Twitter. Who was pushing the story?
I'll tell you.
I don't know. I mean, I know you can't trust the Yeah, I understand.
Le10 Sports.
There you go. Says it all. I mean, that's my thoughts on it.
Black and white.
I would absolutely love Howard. I love the likes of Howard. I mean, I've said Howard Bellis, I think, will potentially be a better defender than Eric Garcia. Really do.
Agree.
Or at City, but I think he's drafted in Tommy Doyle. He's obviously, we've got Howard Bellis as well now, full time with the first team squad. We've got Garcia. Phil Foden is part of the squad now, so he's not a youth player. He's part of the proper squad and has been for the last 12 months. So I'm not worried about it. I'm really not. I would love to see it, but I think the question, your second part of your question, Martin, is relevant. It's about, I think at City you've got to be good enough to play, exactly. and if you're not as good as the players, like I said, look at the Liverpool team, 25 points clear, and everyone's they've got one. They've got those 3 others. One's gone on loan, and 2 others who have had the odd League Cup game or something.
One scored a beautiful goal in a FA Cup semi-final against Everton. That's all he's done.
Yeah. Can I be honest with you?
I'm not saying. I think I've seen Curtis Jones, and I think he's actually a really good player. But is he going to replace Firmino?
No way.
Is he going to replace, Sadio Mane? Is he going to play?
Is he going to replace Fabinho?
Oh no, he definitely replaced
Yeah.
Fabinho.
Yeah, he'll replace him.
Yeah, but hang on, here's the point then. Because I mean, Andy will tell all these how much I love Foden. Chris will tell you I love Foden. But there was a game we were at.
Why? Don't say it's because he's a City fan. Forget that.
Why? No, part of it is because he's a City fan, and part of it because he's homegrown. Because that's for me, as a City fan, that's what we've always liked. A homegrown.
Mate, if you were
that's why I like Michael Johnson.
Well,
coming through and everything else.
Yeah. Well, he cocked it up himself, didn't he, the dick?
Of course he did. But one of the points about Foden, I remember, I mean, I wasn't on the channel, but I remember being there. Leicester City last year at home. Foden played against Tottenham and he scored the winner, didn't he, in the 1-0 win that got us on this big run.
Yeah.
Then he went and played Leicester City on the Monday night, or a few weeks later on a Monday night. He looked like a rabbit in a headlight.
Yeah,
he looked like he was absolutely... I have no idea what I'm doing in this team. Please help me. Someone get me out of there right now. And that's what you've got to try and get with Foden. You've got to get the balance between him. And you've got
to bear in mind that he's a baby.
Exactly. Maybe a year on loan wouldn't be a bad thing for him somewhere.
No, I think it'd be a terrible thing. I think it'd be a terrible thing. If he went out on loan, and City bought someone like Kai Havertz, he would never come back to City. He'd be gone.
All right. So what happens if we do buy a Kai Havertz? Where does that leave him then?
Yeah, but we're not going to buy him. We're not going to buy another midfield player like that.
It's the defence.
We're have to hoss him out.
Yeah, no, but that's a what if. That's a what if.
Martin, there's only a few teams that you would have Foden out on loan with, and it's the type of football that City play. The reason why he doesn't want him to go, right? They play in a certain way, City. You probably the only teams you'd look at would probably Leeds on loan because they play a similar way.
Leeds will take him.
Bournemouth.
And Leeds could be in the Premier League next season.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Great move.
Yeah. So they're the only teams that you would say we want to. If you're going to go somewhere, there's no point in him going to Burnley, where they just.
No, I understand that.
All the good habits that Pep's taught him will be straight out the window.
I think if Foden was to go on loan now, it would make Pep look an absolute hypocrite.
But at the minute, he's looking like one.
Why? When has Pep ever turned round and said that Foden would be a starter for Manchester City last season? When has he ever said that?
He's never said that.
One of the best players he's ever seen. He's not the player. And it's never done out with him all season.
Yeah, but it's a baby. He's a baby, Martin. Who is he going to replace?
Age is
Who is he? Oh, don't talk shite and come up with platitudes. It's bollocks. Stop coming up with stupid platitudes. Don't buy into all those platitudes. Age is only a number. Blah 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 blah. I've just gone through a massive list of the Liverpool players. So you tell me why Harvey Elliott isn't playing. Why isn't Ryan Brewster, who was a World Cup winner? Why are they Curtis Jones? Why are they not playing for Liverpool? Why? Because the play. Well, there you go. There you go. There's the answer.
I know. I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Next year is for me make or break for Foden. You're gonna have to.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that comment. I'm not disagreeing. I think this is a massive, massive year. Said it last week, and for his World Cup chances, the Euros or whatever's next year, Euro 2020, whatever.
If he has to improve on what he's doing at the moment, and the one area that I think he needs to improve in, that will help him stay in City's first team, is scoring goals. From midfield, he doesn't score enough. What I've seen of it, he doesn't score enough. He's done it for the England under 17s, but he's not. Every time he's only scored one Premier League game or two Premier League goals in the time he's played, and he's played enough minutes. He's played more minutes than Ryan Giggs played at his same age. And that's a fact. He doesn't score enough goals, and he needs to start doing that.
But I mean, same on the flip side of that, Alan. If you're a player playing football, if you play football to any level, you know when you come in if you're getting the odd substitute appearance, or you're getting the odd start and then you're out the team and you're back on the bench, and
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
it is difficult. It's really, really hard, and that's as a seasoned pro. Never mind somebody who's 18 and there's all this pressure of homegrown, and I think he just needs to find his feet. And I trust in Pep. I mean, I think Pep knows exactly the plan for Foden, and I think as Martin said that he said he's the best player at that age group he's ever worked with, and that's some accolade. And I don't think that's bullshit from Pep. I think Pep saw him and thought, Jesus Christ, this kid has got serious talent. Whether he's ready for the first team last season, probably not. No. But introducing him. Now, I agree with Martin. This season is a massive, massive season for him. And
next season, yeah.
This coming season, whenever.
When this one ends, when it's sort of interludes with the other one.
Whenever. I agree with Martin. I think this is going to be a huge season, a massive season for him. And I think if he doesn't play 25 Premier League games this season, maybe.
Is Ryan posing?
Yeah,
I don't.
I just got a big cheesy grin off him.
He sort of paused. I can't hear
you. He's back.
Are you there?
Hey.
Ryan?
Turns out that's been on mute.
Whoa.
You're gonna
turn it off.
Get some of these.
Yeah.
Well said, Alan.
Take your headphones out.
Well, Alan's gone.
Alan's gone. He's back.
He'll pressed he's pressed his AirPods and it's got the call on it, Alan.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that create an echo?
That's better than it was before. It's not that you're not creating an echo.
That is a lot better.
Right.
He's had his hair cut.
The
mother cut it earlier.
Yeah.
You look like a young Chris.
You look. The back of your hair looks like when my lad cut it. You can't see the back, can you?
Have you noticed no difference in the goatee tonight?
It's not even bum fluff.
Oh, actually, that's not too bad. Actually, yeah, she's done a good job there, mate.
She used to cut my hair when I was in primary.
Well, I think every parent did when they were in primary.
It was only about a year ago, wasn't it?
Cheaper.
It was only 12 months ago when you were in primary.
Right, is there anybody else for that question? Again, is that everybody? Right, okay. What we're going to do, this is going to be the end of part 2. We're going to finish on here and we're going to come back for part 3. Because again, these questions tonight are very interesting, and this is the problem. Thank God I didn't ask any questions tonight because it will be on part 6 before we know it. So a good question, that, Martin. Really interesting, and it's one for a debate, and it is a really difficult one. It really, really is. So I think we'd all love to see the likes of Howard Bellis and Tommy Doyle and the likes of Phil Foden playing next season. Will they? Won't they? Give us your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think Howard Bellis is going to get more game time? Do you think Eric Garcia? Do you think Foden should be on loan? Martin thinks he should go out on loan. Do you think he should stay? And do you think he'll be David Silva's? Well, you said it. Do you think... I know. Don't put my name to it. People will just rewind back and go, well, actually, you said that. But anyway, don't forget, check out part 1 and go over, because that's a pretty heated debate on a couple of questions. What we're going to do is come back for part 3 and we'll carry on. And next up is going to be Ryan. So take care. And don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell icon and make sure your notifications are set to public, not private. But we'll see you soon.